Hey dudes, what's up? My name's Mark, and I'm an artist who likes to draw funny characters and stuff like that. Welcome to Redraw. This is part 5 in a little mini series of where I take my childhood drawings of many Mega Man robots and redraw them and try to make them look good-ish, you know, that kind of stuff. So anyway, uh, last time on part 4, I tackled a weird-looking guy called Lightman, and he was. I think I made it very apparent how frustrated I was with that. I voiced my frustrations uh, pretty clearly for like 20 minutes on that. So on this one, pretty much the exact opposite happens. um, and kind of like Geoman, which if you've stuck around for that part, I kind of this guy who is Combat Man, it was pretty straightforward overall. I kind of had a pretty clear idea of where to go with him and take him. It was pretty simple overall, and I just kind of rolled with that. And this is one of the instances where it was pretty easy, or I guess easy enough, to kind of translate what I had drawn in the sketchbook into something that could be a little more, I guess, visually appropriate. So I didn't really change too much with him overall. He's still got, he's like a karate man overall. That's basically it. I remember the last time I was struggling trying to figure out a purpose for Lightman, and I still, you know, that's just something I kind of left by the wayside at that point. But with this guy, I definitely think I have an interesting idea for him, where basically, uh, again, going back and forth between simple and complex designs, this guy's definitely leaning more towards the simpler aspect, and I kind of wanted to lean into that a little bit. Where basically I had the idea where this guy is pretty much he was designed to basically get the shit beat out of him. um, he was designed to be like a karate teacher or something like that, or some kind of martial arts teacher, in a sense. And he's built kind of basic, and I imagine he's got programmed with a bunch of different karate techniques. Maybe he has different settings where it's he goes from like beginner stuff to more advanced stuff, karate moves and all that. I don't know. I never did karate or anything like that. When I was a kid, one of my friends used to take me to it was like a bring a buddy class for his like taekwondo. So that's like the most experience I have with that. But that's pretty much what I was going for with that. He's kind of like a martial arts instructor kind of deal, and I mean that's I feel like that idea is kind of a layup for a Mega Man game. The theme kind of writes itself at that point. Oh, and why was he reprogrammed to be bad? Well, he can just use his. I can just go rogue with his hand-to-hand combat skills and I don't know, try to torment people or something. I don't know. But basically, this guy was definitely a lot easier and was certainly a breath of fresh air compared to the last guy I had drawn. So, yeah, not too many complaints, although I will say I kind of messed up the perspective a little bit. That's kind of, if I were to sort of critique the stuff I had here, I think the line work's a little shaky, and I kind of screwed up right hand as well. But I mean, I'm not gonna let that stop me from how I feel about the rest of the drawing, so I'll let it slide for now. I do definitely feel like I could have maybe. I guess this would also go in hand, with his right hand. But I feel like I could have messed with the perspective a little bit more, kind of exaggerated that a little bit, kind of had his foot out more and his left hand um, peeking out a little bit further as well. Um, but yeah, other than that, I think the process for this guy went pretty swimmingly. Not swimmingly, but pretty okay. I did struggle with the color a little bit. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But anyway, going back to theming, um, I definitely this was definitely one of the guys that I was a little more passionate about just because of how easy it was to think of what how this guy could be incorporated. And I imagine a stage is kind of like a it would be something along the lines of like I guess like a martial arts school, and he has like a bunch of traps set up and all that, like ambushes. Maybe throughout the stage, he would like ambush Mega Man or something. I don't know. And then it'd be kind of cool, I guess. Maybe I don't know. I'm not a game developer, but uh, what I think would be cool, and drawing this guy up, kind of gave me some ideas for I don't know what they could do for another Mega Man game. And that's basically like like he takes the powers of the bosses that he defeats. But like I always wondered like it'd be kind of cool if like he instead like kind of would take like their I don't know, like their fighting style instead. Kind of like not like he becomes them, but like he learns like a learn he learns like a move set from them instead. Like so I guess for example with this guy, since he's, all hand to hand combat, he's all hands, that would kind of be the weapon upgrade that he would get was that he just becomes a martial artist and you would have to like beat up enemies up close. And on the downside, he wouldn't have any projectiles and stuff like that. But I don't know, that could be something cool. I'm just kind of spitballing randomly here, but that was pretty much the idea for this guy. He's got a weird face, and I kind of wanted to keep that. That's why, a lot of the Mega Man characters have like very similar looking faces. They all got the angry like widow's peak eyes or whatever. And that's something I always wanted to keep as well because I just love that look, no matter how dumb it looks. But I also kind of wanted to lean into that more, so I made it so his bandana is like kind of acts like his eyebrows a little bit, and it forms that angry expression that he has. And yeah, kind of in the same nature of he almost looks like a crash dummy in a sense. And I tried to mess around with that with the colors to varying results, but that was kind of the inspiration. He's a guy that's made to get beaten up. That's his function, essentially, and to be like a teacher. So I wanted to kind of take that design inspiration. I wanted to give him some yellow because yellow is like, oh, caution, or like yellow and orange is like bright colors to denote like, hey, like this guy is not like actually meant to be like a weapon, really, even though he would technically become one, which is kind of sadly poetic, I guess, in concept. When it on that note, it'll become kind of apparent later on in this series that the themes that I had in mind when designing some of these guys ended up being a little bit, I don't want to say darker, but a little more involved, I guess. But yeah, I guess that would be kind of like the sad thing. Like this guy's is built to be it's a teacher and ends up being reprogrammed to cause harm to people instead. It sounds so overly dramatic. This is just supposed to be a dumb video talking about my character process. Um, so yeah, whatever. It is what it is. As I said before, I did struggle with the color a little bit. I knew I definitely wanted to incorporate some reds and yellows or like pale oranges, but I wasn't sure how to color his. I think it's a gi. If I think my terminology might be correct. I could be totally wrong on that. For what they were, karate masters, black belts. Where I only saw the Karate Kid once, so you're gonna have to forgive me. When I was a little kid. But yeah, I didn't know what to make him. Originally, I wanted to incorporate some black because I'm like, oh, he's a black belt, duh. So I gotta make his belt black. But then I'm like, well, where can I bring the black to the other parts of his design? And I just struggled a lot with that. So I guess I lied, actually. I didn't. I'm struggling with this. Every part, every character I did for this challenge, I struggled with something. It was just... But it's always a different thing. Which I guess is the beauty of the process, I guess. Not to sound all philosophical and up my own butt. But what was I saying? Yeah, I was talking about the black in his design. Yeah, so I ended up just foregoing it and giving him just a red belt with you know, his collar is red and all that. His bandana is red, and his arms and legs are. And I feel like I think red belts are like kind of middle of the road, so I feel like that kind of checks out considering his purpose and what he would represent. He would kind of be like that middleman. He'd kind of be an all-around trainer for both beginner martial artists and more advanced ones. So I think it kind of ended up working out anyway. So yeah, I guess the only thing is like he's very metal looking. So I feel like maybe trying to beat him up would be kind of harmful to the person. But whatever. It looks cool, in my opinion. So, cool enough. But I think I did a decent enough job here. And there's a point where I start to get kind of funky. Or I should say, there's a general progression in these drawings where I start to get more and more detailed on some of the shading and stuff like that, as well as some of the layers and overlays, I guess I should say. For some reason, I can't think of proper terminology today. It's all my words are just escaping me. The one thing that I kind of wish that I had done was kind of make him look a little more beat up and, you know, a little more scuffed. Like, you know, like he's like a practice robot. So obviously he's built to be durable and expendable. And in a sense, like I imagine they probably this is a robot master. It's probably like part of like a factory line, and he's just like one version, one model, and you know they make a bunch of replicas of him, and probably he's probably like a some sort. He probably has to is like some kind of standard in like martial arts school. Like, oh, each school's got to have their own combat man who yeah, that's just common protocol now, or part of the law. I don't know. So But I do wish I had made him a little more scuffed up, kind of like he's always getting into scraps because that's his job. His job is to get into scraps and to teach. So I kind of wish I did that a little bit more. Kind of like how I did with Gear Man. I really emphasized the scuffs on him, but I didn't end up doing that here. Um, and it's something I didn't even really realize until, honestly, I started recording now. So it's interesting the things that you realize in retrospect when looking back on artwork, which is also another reason why I wanted to kind of do this in the first place, was to kind of give myself a chance to step away from my art and kind of look back on it and sort of have a new perspective on the process. I've never really done recordings of my own artwork before. Usually once it's done, it's done. I don't really look back on it too much, but I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that at least for me, I think that's probably something I should be doing more, because when you're in the thick of it when drawing, you're kind of just like in the zone and you're just trying to get this thing done, and you might not realize certain details that somebody else would notice, from an outside perspective. And that's kind of almost how I've been feeling recording these commentaries over my own artwork, is that I almost feel like I'm watching just somebody else. Probably because I've never most of my experience watching speed paints is from other people, so from watching other people's. So this is almost kind of a little foreign to me. But it is good to look back on because you notice things that you wouldn't have noticed in the thick of the process because you're just not thinking about it. You're not thinking of the big picture overall. You're thinking of whatever it is, what little piece, what a little part you're working on with a drawing. Whereas when you look back on the process, or even just look back on the finished piece, kind of with a encompassing view. That's a big word. Encompassing. You have this overall view of everything, and I feel like you're able to kind of pinpoint certain things, and not even just things that you missed, but even like tendencies that you have with the way you draw and stuff like that. It's something that you just, at least I've never noticed during the process at all, but looking back I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like I really I tend to do this or that, a lot. I'm trying to think of a example, but I mean, one of the example I know for sure I can say is texture. Texture and lighting is something I focus a lot on, especially nowadays. And I think that process for me has definitely improved over the years. It's just good to, I think, look back on this stuff. I mean, I kind of started this whole thing really as just something I wanted to get off my chest, and just I mean, not only to see like have something to do with my YouTube channel, as just like a fun little side project, but also honestly just a me thing, because I just I don't do that much looking back on artwork sometimes, because I guess, just to be honest, sometimes I'm afraid of thinking in the moment that this piece looks good, and then looking back on it after resting my eyes from it and then being like, oh my god, this is terrible. I have to go back and fix this, which I understand is a common thing among artists, but that's kind of it. Anyway, that's Combat Man. I think overall, he's one of my more successful reiterations. Even though his design is definitely I took definitely less risks with him, and he's probably the one out of this first set that's the most true to his original design, I would say. But overall, I still think I succeeded in redrawing him in my current skill set. And even though his right hand's a little wonky and funky, I can let that slide. I'm willing to I'm willing to not hold a grudge against myself. But yeah, that's a wrap on that. I hope you enjoyed watching or listening or whatever, and I'll see you in the next one. We've got 3 more to go, and the next few are, I would say the last 3 are probably the most interesting ones. So, hope you look forward to that. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.